I am back. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg, and I hope Monday is treating you all well. We'll do our shout outs today. Once again, I'll see you later, says Kamishwari Kate. And that was earlier this afternoon. And getting ready. She says she's getting ready. Okay, and we're here, folks. Pre-show music mix on point. Thank you, Warren. That was an act called The Pregnant Men from they were from Mississippi in the 1980s. I became friends with Sherry, who's the guitar player. Guitar player you just heard. I'm friends with her on Facebook, and she gave me permission to use any of her music. So I will be sharing some of her music on this channel occasionally. So when I get a chance on the description box, I'm a little bit behind on my description box. I'll go ahead and urge each and every one of you to follow Sherry on YouTube and follow Sherry on Facebook. I don't think she's on Twitter. So, but anyway, and we have Max Sarjay here. Where's Warren? He's been missing for days. He will be back on Wednesday. I was this morning waiting for Morning Extra, but I was like, well, he needs a little more time. If he needs a little more time, let's give him a little more time. So he'll be back. He will be back. So anyway, so I guess we'll go on with the show. The Democrats, I mean, they are doubling down on what to do. And I just would not put it past. I'm putting up this scenario of how predictable Democrats are, because they are that predictable. Rehabilitating, Liz Cheney is so abhorrent to me. I mean, I played this before, and I have to play it again because it is just so unfathomable how we can just sit there and allow Liz Cheney to be rehabilitated. So this is from Turncoat Don. It's one of my favorite videos from Turncoat Don. So we're gonna play it.
in your satin tights, fighting for your rights.
Let me scroll that in the back in the beginning. Here we go.
Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, in your satin tights, fighting for your rights, and the old red, white, and blue.
If the Democrats prevail, we will not have an economic recovery. You and I know the damage Barack Obama has done to our beloved state and nation. In Congress, I'll lead the fight to reverse President Obama's devastating policies. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Joe Biden, they are advocating the quicksand of socialism. They will absolutely sink and devastate this nation. Representative Omar embodies a vile, hate-filled, anti-Semitic, anti-Israel bigotry.
I am strongly pro-life and I am not pro-gay marriage, said Cheney Friday.
I do believe in the traditional definition of marriage.
And I think that, the North Koreans and others around the world have seen that President Trump is somebody who's going to do what he says he's going to do, and he's going to keep his word.
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office.
Wonder Woman. You're Wonder Woman.
Waterboarding is not torture.
And we should never, ever rehabilitate someone like Liz Cheney. And that's what a lot of liberals did. They have rehabilitated a lot of these people. And what's next? What is next with these folks? They're going to go and rehabilitate. Are they going to go ahead and rehabilitate George? They have already rehabilitated George W. Bush. We're going to do. They're going to rehabilitate Tom Cotton, Ted Cruz. They're almost rehabilitating Mitch McConnell right now. They got Mitch McConnell voted no on a couple of those appointees. Just Rich McConnell was being consistent. He was being when he voted no against Tulsi Gabbard, he was being the same old consistent right-wing asshole he always was. This is not to say that Tulsi Gabbard is the most ideal person. I don't want to talk about her all night, but I will mention her briefly. That Tulsi Gabbard was not the most ideal person for the position that Director of National Intelligence. Though, but under the circumstances, the only appointee would have been no appointee at all, a vacant seat. And then Tulsi Gabbard, and anything else that Trump would have appointed would have been obviously worse. So Mitch McConnell voting against Tulsi Gabbard, almost makes me glad that Tulsi Gabbard got the position. As frustrated as I obviously get with Tulsi Gabbard, but anyway, thing is that this constant rehabilitation effort to basically humanize, these people. As I said, in a couple of years, probably 5 or 10 years from now, there will be. I've actually predicted that had Ron DeSantis gotten the nomination instead of Donald Trump, that I think he would have been so petty that he would have probably come to the liberals begging for forgiveness or something. I mean, he wouldn't have done like grovel on his knees, but he would he would have found a way to be in a way to grift himself toward rehabilitation. And so whether that day's going to come or not, we don't know what the future will bring as far as the Trump presidency. But the next step is to rehabilitate Ted Cruz and to rehabilitate. And in about 15 years, you watch them. They're going to find a way to rehabilitate Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer and Marjorie Taylor Greene are going to be on our side against whatever fascist is around at that point. That's how it's getting to this point. So the Republicans get loonier to the right, and the Democrats just play along. And now the Democrats are now where George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and John Bolton were in 2007, except they don't hate gay people. They're okay with abortion rights and they're not racist. That's basically the big difference right there. So that's what's going on. So he must have deleted his Twitter profile, and I'm going to refer to Rob Reiner, because there were some tweets I found years ago that just absolutely just offended me, and I should have found a way to. I should just keep some of these tweets that I find, because I had no idea that that some of these people will be leaving in droves off of Twitter and suspending or terminating their own accounts. So I couldn't find Rob Reiner on Twitter at all. What I did find was a website that touched upon him, referring to. Let's see. Hold on a second. Is that it? Let me see. It's called Twitchy, and Rob Reiner tells non-MAGA Republicans to let Liz Cheney be their North Star, and this is from September 3rd, 2022. So I'll go ahead and share this with y'all here. Okay. During his ridiculous speech Thursday night, President Joe Biden cleared some things up, then muddled the waters again. He noted not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans, are MAGA Republicans. But even though mainstream Republicans, aka rhinos, are the majority, it's the MAGA Republicans who dominate the drive of the Republican Party today. Actor and director Rob Reiner heard Biden's warnings undoing 246 years of progress that suggested that all non-MAGA Republicans let Liz Cheney be their North Star. I don't know the name of the congresswoman that replaced Liz Cheney offhand, but one of my friends who lives in Montana, and unfortunately, he's been on this show. I won't mention his name, but unfortunately, he's of this mindset that Liz Cheney is somebody that can be rehabilitated. So and he's not like a corporate Democrat or something like that. He's really a left wing individual. But I disagree with him on that. But he told me that the woman that replaced Liz Cheney on policy votes more moderately than Liz Cheney when Liz Cheney was in Congress. And Liz Cheney voted with Donald Trump 93% of the time. It's just that this woman that replaced Cheney is pro-Trump, whereas Liz Cheney is anti-Trump, but to the right of the woman who is pro-Trump that replaced her. So this is what's crazy about this whole thing. I used to get this in the early years of Trump's presidency, that when I'll say that George W. Bush was worse, And some people, and we're talking about people who are centrist-y, not even liberal Democrats, kind of getting on me about this. Like, what are you talking about? Donald Trump is a Nazi. Donald Trump, I'm going to tell you this time, second time round, I will say that while I'm not prepared to say Nazi, but I would say fascist adjacent and authoritarian as fuck. I would say that. I'm laughing a hell of a lot less than I did the first time round. But let me continue. Cheney is a falling star on a collision course on Earth. And Reiner seems to forget that just because she's dedicated her life to ensuring that Donald Trump doesn't run again, that she's still Darth Vader's daughter and voted for Trump more than 90% of the time. Republicans don't want her. Democrats don't want her. Nobody wants her. And that's the thing right there. Nobody should want her. Nobody should want her. She's a warmonger. I mean, her sister is a lesbian. She doesn't even accept the fact that her little sister is a lesbian. Hey, she's closer to Marjorie Taylor on LGBTQ issues than she is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is closer to a normal Democrat than Liz Cheney is on the question of LGBTQ. I'm not saying he's great on the issue. I am not saying he's great on the issue. I will repeat again. I am not saying he's great on the issue. But on that sliding scale between Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump, and Liz Cheney, she's closer. She's closer to Marjorie Taylor Greene. The difference is she has this Methodist-like politeness about her. I say that because I know that Liz Cheney's Methodist. And, her tone is softer, but she is still a foul bigot. And and that's something that needs to be noted in regard to Liz Cheney. So the thing is that I've heard some people speculate that what should be done, that maybe Liz Cheney should one day run. It is sad to say, and we have all kinds of opinions on AOC. You've heard me pretty much talk very critically of AOC. This is not to say that AOC is base, but we're going to, for an instant, just for the sake of argument, compare AOC to Liz Cheney. Now, we know that AOC is a sellout. I mean, what she did with those rail workers, I had to wash my hands completely. I was no longer a critical supporter as of November 2022. Actually, October 2022, because it was just when Lucy told me she's running for Congress. I was like, this is probably as good a time as any to say fuck AOC, figuratively speaking, but also literally speaking. But I'm a gentleman. If AOC ever wants to be in my company, I'm a very gentlemanly person. We be classy about it. She's pretty. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I'm being silly. But here's the thing. AOC. Liz Cheney, the Democratic Party today are more likely to give Liz Cheney the nomination for president or the vice presidency than they would Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I will repeat that again. And this is not to say that AOC is based the way many of us, and let's admit it, we all thought she was based at one point. She's not. AOC has less of a chance of becoming a presidential or vice presidential candidate in 2028 or any other time next to Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney has a much better chance. And what the Democratic Party would do probably with her at this point, don't be surprised that the still remaining social conservatism, her anti-abortion positions, her anti-LGBTQ positions, referring to Liz Cheney, obviously. Much of her traditional conservative issues that she stands for as a nominal Republican. Don't be surprised that she starts having some awakenings on these issues, and all of a sudden she finds herself wanting to protect a woman's right to choose. That she suddenly cares about the well-being of her sister, and that's Mary Cheney, and that's why she's going to follow her dad's example. The one good thing I can say about Dick Cheney is Dick Cheney now supports LGBTQ rights. I will defend him on that. I hate the son of a bitch. I think he's a piece of shit on everything. He's a garbage human being overall, but he had a change of heart on it and came close to home. And some people will be like, well, that's because somebody close to his family is that way. No, I don't care why. The fact that he decided to make the right choice and realize that a human being is a human being, and somebody close to him, is of that persuasion. He had a change of heart on that issue. Good for him. So I take no issue with him there. Where I take issue with him is he's still a fucking war criminal. He still should be arrested and handcuffed and sent to The Hague for crimes against humanity. But then again, Noam Chomsky said that every president and vice president should be put on trial against humanity and sent to The Hague. And I tend to agree with Noam Chomsky. But she'll start to become pro-choice and pro-LGBTQ. She'll start to soften on her economic rhetoric and starts to talk favorably about access to health care. She will, things of that nature. She'll start to sound she'll start to sound like a slightly better Debbie Wasserman Schultz, which we know that Debbie, she'll sound like a slightly more left-leaning Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and that doesn't take a whole lot to be more left-leaning than Debbie Wasserman Schultz, one of the worst Democrats elected in this country right now in Congress. And that's saying a lot, but she's right down in the dumpster as far as a human being is concerned, referring to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But suffice to say that right now I'm predicting that they will probably match Liz Cheney and someone like Rob Reiner together as the unbeatable team to beat J.D. Vance or whoever the Republican is in 2028. If there is an election in the year 2028, because who knows these days? Who knows? So I'd like to know what y'all think about this. If y'all have any perspective on this, I can go through the chat line here. Snipe Hunter, how are you doing today? How are you? I gave you a call before the show, but I guess you're here now, so that's cool. Let's see. Warren says, Commissary K, bake me a cake with a hacksaw in it. Yes. All right. Yep, and that was basically my point. Stephen S. Cheney and Reiner. Yeah, and here's the thing about Rob Reiner. I used to respect Rob Reiner. I used to respect the guy. I mean, he was a little bit, by 1970s standards, he was a little bit preachy and a little bit social justice warrior-y on the family, but he was ultimately correct on his, not politically correct, but correct, just correct in general, on his great arguments with Archie Bunker on the family. And program. I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. A program that's even better than All in the Family is a British show called Till Death Us Do Part, which was what All in the Family was based off of. And I'll go really quickly into that, and then we'll get back into what I'm going to discuss right here. Till Death Us Do Part was a British TV show, 1966 till 1976. And what happened was that Norman Lear went to the UK in 1966, and he saw the TV show Till Death Us Do Part, and he liked the premise of that show. A working class family living in East London, and Alf Garnett being a docker who was bigoted, with a kind of a ditzy wife, a sarcastic daughter, and a Trotskyist son-in-law. Doesn't that sound familiar when you put it into an American context? Somebody who works at the dock that lives in Queens, New York, with a ditzy wife, a sarcastic daughter, and, well, they don't say Trotskyist, they just say liberal here. But here, and that's what the show's about. Same parallel storyline. Alf was married to Elsie. They had a daughter named Rita. And their son-in-law was Michael, who was an Irishman from Liverpool that moved down to London, and then married Rita, and then lived in the Garnett household, and old arguments. But the difference between Michael and Alf on Till Death Us Do Part, and Archie and Michael on the American series, which is why I like the British version better, is that in spite of their political arguments, and they were all alcoholics on the British series, and the alcohol actually bonded them together, believe it or not. When they weren't arguing about politics, they were very, very chummy when it came to football, what we call soccer here. And Archie and Michael were not very particularly close or anything at the end of the day on All in the Family. But I'll mention this: the actor that played Michael on Till Death Us Do Part, his name in real life was Anthony Booth, and he was the real life father-in-law of Tony Blair, the Prime Minister. And they did not get along when Tony Booth was alive, because Tony Blair was a piece of shit prime minister who basically turned the Labour Party into a Thatcherized Labour Party that looked more like Margaret Thatcher, in the way that Bill Clinton made the Democrats look like Reagan. And Anthony Booth politically was an old Labour, a hardcore socialist, left-wing socialist, borderline communist, and he hated his son-in-law. Can't blame him there. So anyway, Rob Reiner, as I said, Anthony Booth in real life was a way better person than Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner just became just a shit lib that Republicans are bad, Democrats are good, and not really much substance into anything. Just very typical. And so I got no respect for Rob Reiner. I make fun of people like Rob Reiner. They should be made fun of. So anyway, there is that. But how sad is it? I know y'all could predict this too. You could envision this in your minds, couldn't you? That Liz Cheney and Rob Reiner would team up and go against whatever mean Republican runs in the year 2028. And that's what I predict was going to happen, because the Democrats are feckless. They don't know how to fight, and they're just absolutely useless at the end of the day. Republicans, they're going around, they're destroying a lot of aspects of the administrative states, and going to basically make unions virtually non-existent when it's all over, and going to just, all any vestiges of the New Deal will pretty much be gone. So much so that it will make Ronald Reagan look like Norman Thomas by comparison. The very man that he denounced in a 1962 recording warning against the evils of socialized medicine, and none of his predictions came true, referring to Ronald Reagan. So anyway, there is that. So we'll continue with the chat lines here. Chuck, Intergalactic UFO Show. Willie, your planet is running rampant with technicolors and Nazis. Please do something about this. Are you referring to my green background? It makes me look thin. So what can I say? Let's see. Commissioner Kate says, extra bula. Aha, okay. I'll bake a cake with plenty of fortified butter, feed it to the guards, and you can just walk out of the front door. There you go. And Warren responds back with laughter. So, okay, folks. I have to go right now. I will be back on Wednesday. And it looks like that the new time period is going to be 7:30. Because it's going to be the only way that I'm going to have that I can do this and make it to work on time, and if possible before time, to deal with what I have to deal with. So, oh no, that's okay. That's not a problem, Kate. That is not a problem. Not a problem. That's why I talk with y'all on the chat lines too. Let's see. Great show, Willie. Love seeing you Wednesday morning. Well, I'll be there, Warren. I'll be there. And Intergalactic. Oh, excuse me. Thank you, Willie. Anytime, Kate. Anytime. And Chuck, Intergalactic UFO says, more peace, less Nazis. You can go along with that. Could very much go along with that. So anyway, I'll conclude by saying, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any ways you disagree with what I have to say. We can have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show. Help me get to that big old 1,000. Today, it is the 5th anniversary of the Willie Bragg Show, by the way. I am, the Willie Bragg Show is 5 years old. I started this channel 5 years ago today. I forgot to mention that. February 17th, 2020. It was to be my little primitive little channel to say good things about Bernie Sanders. And it ended up saying, it ended up being more critical down the road. So, it's amazing how times have changed, right? And then let's see. As I said, subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show. Reject corporate media because they have nothing to offer us. So independent media is the way to go, and that's what we need to do. This is why I encourage each and every one of y'all to also create your own platform, because it's a great way just to get things off your chest too. So that's how I'm looking at that as well. I originally tried to strive to be one of the big timers, hoping that could be, as big as the back then. I was hoping I was to be as big as the Sam Cedars and the Jimmy Dores and the Young Turks and the Kyle Kalinskis and the David Packmans and all of that back then. That was how I was looking at things back then. Today, my channel is small, and I'm okay with the size of my channel. I really am. I think small channels are cool. And some of the big channels are still okay, depending on who they are. But this, with the small channels, you have a community, and with the community, you build friendships, you network with people, and and you learn from each other. And as I said, I think small channels, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but and there are some faction fights even with smaller channels, I'm aware. However, we don't, when we see the egos on some of the larger channels, you're just like, yeesh, really. But anyway, I'm digressing here. Remember, it's time to work and to try to work and free and pardon Ed Snowden, free Palestine, to work on a healthcare system for all people, free for everyone, and for our own self-preservation. We need to fight like hell to preserve the First Amendment, to keep the First Amendment free for all, because it is our friend at the end of the day. We need it to spread our ideas, because our ideas are better. They really are. Until next time, everyone. Fuck Rob Reiner. Y'all have a great night.